we're gonna now look at the phrasal verb bring up. And Nacho had mentioned that he thought it was connected to introducing a new idea to a conversation, which is true. But today we're going to focus on the other meaning. So the other meaning is usually used in the past and probably in passive voice. For example, where were you brought up? So does that ring a bell or sound familiar to you guys? If someone asked, where were you brought up? No,
What,
that's
like in
fine.
your family, when you um
Keep going, family, family. Yes, family is connected to bringing up.
where you grow up, like grow. I don't know how to say it, but
Good. Where you grow up, and then the bringing up part is what your
mm,
parents do.
yeah.
Yeah, so growing up is much more general. That could be where you grow up or who you grow up with, your siblings, your parents. And then,
Right.
yeah, and bring up is just your parents bring you up or your grandparents or
Bring
some adult brings up a child.
me.
So can you guys think of a synonym for bring up? Just a regular kind of a verb that would have the same meaning as bring up. So you bring up children or you starts with an R.
Raised. No,
Good.
not raised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Oh.
right. Yeah, raise. Okay, take care of, help a child to grow and learn, raise.
Mm.
And then I have a whole pile of examples for you guys, but it's all the same thing. So I just wanted to show you it could be passive voice. I was brought up. I was brought up to treat others. So sometimes you're talking about how you were
Mm.
taught to behave. Sometimes you're using it just to say where you were brought up, the location. Sometimes you're saying who is the person that raised you, who brought you up.
Mhm.
There you go. So often passive, but doesn't have to be. You could say bringing up children is hard. Okay, so we're going to move on and we're going to try to use bring up as in raise in the discussion. All right, so question one, were you brought up in a small town? Were you brought up in a small town?
I was brought up. Yeah, I was. Well, I
Perfect.
was brought up. Is that the correct pronunciation?
No.
Like
Okay.
brought.
Okay,
Start.
so it's just the spelling is making you crazy. So just think of a word like not.
Okay,
Yeah, so say
brought.
not.
Yeah, not.
Yeah, not, and then say maybe say got, and then say brought.
Brought.
Brought up.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. Well, for instance, now that I moved to Dublin, which is not a huge city, but let's say the capital, and it has. I live now in a area where you have a lot of nightclubs and there's a lot of noise and all the streets. Since I was brought up in this small town where I couldn't even hear anything because it was close to the mountains, now here for me it's overwhelming, let's say,
Hmm.
like the sound and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And not only for that is yeah, yeah, probably only it's just that because there is no big difference, at least for me, to being brought up
Great. That was a really tough one. That was good.
in a small town and in a big city. Just
Okay,
that,
great.
like the sound and the environment,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Noise pollution, you can actually call that
Yeah.
noise pollution. Yeah, it's very stressful for people. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. So, do you think do you think your parents were brought up differently from the way you were?
Well, my parents were brought up differently because it's so hard. For instance, I was brought up this way. Like everything I asked for, they gave it to me.
What's an
Very
adjective for that?
spoiled.
Yes.
Very spoiled.
Spoiled.
Yeah,
Yes.
but my grandparents didn't do that to my parents, and they were more tough. Like, ho- no, it's not punishment. It's ground. How do you say when you ground your
Hmm.
child? Yeah,
Hmm.
but like in a very tough way. Like,
They were strict.
yeah,
Okay.
you know what I mean.
Corporal punishment.
Yeah, and I think nowadays you don't see that very often. So the bringing up it's different
Hmm.
nowadays. I
Yeah,
think
you just,
sometimes.
yeah, in that case, you just have to say the way people are brought up is different.
Okay, the way
Yeah.
people has brought up,
Close?
the way people is.
Almost. You're so close. You're using the right verb. The way people, one
Is
person is, two people.
the way people are
Yeah,
brought
it's
up.
getting late. It's getting late. Okay, great. And what are some things you think are important when bringing up children? So you guys don't have children, but I'm sure you could speculate on what might be some important things to think about when bringing up children. You're like, I have no idea.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
important to.
Like, oh, I mean, like do's and don'ts, right? Do's and don'ts. Like, what should you do when bringing up children, or what should you not do?
yeah. I
What
think
is
the important thing is like when you bring up a child and when you are bringing up a child, it's like show him respect for other people, like to be polite and be respectful for.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's something a lot of us are missing today with our spoiled children.
It's
Yes.
totally
It's very
fine.
Mar?
difficult to
Or
say because we say this now.
No, but it's
We
good.
say
It's
this
good to
now.
have ideals. We need ideals. Like we have to start somewhere.
Yes.